All right. Hello there, Crown Point. Mayor Pete Land here with another exciting episode of Lay of the Land, our exciting podcast, the number one rated podcast, as I'm always promoting it, by many national podcast organizations. Number one podcast coming out of Crown Point. So very exciting. That means we're doing a great job. So,
number one in Crown Point, or is it number one in Crown Point at 9:30 a.m. on December?
See, why do you got to bring all that on this?
Data.
Debbie Downer. National. Number one rated. I got the phone call on the phone bank. So nice. Anyway, it's very exciting. To be number one in there. So Anthony Schlueter, our sidekick here. Anthony, how you doing?
Doing good, Mayor.
What's been going on?
Not a whole lot, just taking care of business. Should have a good show here. We got the two guys in charge of public safety here in Crown Point. So
we do.
Yeah.
So this is the first time. Well, before we move on, Adam Graper, our stellar team pace leader, and IT coordinator extraordinaire, Adam. Thanks for getting dressed up for the show. Very much appreciate that.
That's my nice zip up. More for you.
Looking good as always.
Thank you.
You're a man of many talents. And then Mary off camera, the brains behind the show, and leader of our graphics department as well. So, Mary, anything you want to chime in on? Okay. If we get any calls, you can break in. So today's the very first episode that we actually have city department heads as guests on the show. We thought with the holiday season upon us and Christmas and the New Year's right down the road, we thought it'd be good to have the police chief Ryan Patrick and our fire chief Mark Baumgardner Jr. on. So welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So I'm glad you could clear your schedules to accommodate the recording of the podcast. So
happy to be
don't
here.
be nervous that it's the number one rated show.
Been looking forward to it since last week.
Yes. Okay. Very nice.
Now, there's going to be a bunch of people wanting autographs when we walk out of here. And
we do have some paparazzi there. Yeah. So yeah, all right. We'll give you some Snickers bars you can get out or something. So because you guys know are big fans of the podcast, we were talking about that before we started.
I'm subscribed.
The theme of is every guest has to bring something so that when they're no longer here, we have something to remember them by for our prop shelf. And then the picture hanging on the wall, which was Tim Highbrighter's donation. So very nice picture there. Old courthouse. We don't have the year though, right? No, Tim's picture.
We don't.
Well, look at the car. It's going to be after 1968, early
70s for sure.
Yeah. So,
which that was my favorite podcast.
It was, yeah.
A lot of history.
Two characters.
A lot of history.
So that was actually hung in the courthouse as it was. So,
you might have to be a recurring guest.
Tim Highbrighter.
Pardon the interruption. We experienced technical difficulties while filming this episode. We will be right back.
All right, yeah, so we're back from our commercial break. So welcome back to viewers. So I think we left off where you guys were going to let us know what you brought for the prop show. Chief, you want to go first?
Yeah, so Chief Patrick and I coordinated a little bit. So we brought one of our department patches to put on the display. So
very nice.
They, I think they switched these. They switched them at the same time, and it was a contest through the high school that designed a new patch. And I don't remember who it was at the time who won, but they adopted it for both our patch, the police department's patch, and EMA.
So it was in the elementary school, wasn't it? So
I don't remember. I remember, prior to that, we just used the regular state seal.
Yeah, so our patches were designed by a school student, and we've had them ever since. And the only difference is the text at the top. So
yeah, very cool. And then I chat with them, and it's big in the police world. I don't know fire too. That, exchanging patches. So this is with the great design of our patch. It's a much sought after one.
Yeah, it's a very
unique around the country. So, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I thought you were going to say you brought the Starbucks. But patches, this is good.
You keep that cup too.
Very nice. Yeah, I think a little moldy. So everybody knows you in the community. Ryan and Junior as the official leaders of our two emergency services department. But before we jump into stuff, and I'll go with fire first because they're the softball champions.
Sure.
So we're going to do rock, paper, scissors.
We will review this.
Yes, I have every confidence. So, Mark, how long have you been with the fire department?
So this would be 14 years.
14.
14 years with the fire department. And, prior to Crown Point, I was on another area fire department for about a year. And prior to that, I was in active duty Air Force. And prior to that was high school. So I went from high school to military, right into the fire department. And I've been there ever since.
Now, one of the cool things I remember sharing from your military days is that you get to go on board Air Force One.
Yeah. So one of my training sites was at Andrews Air Force Base, and part of that program was to be on essentially a standby crew because I lived on the base. So if they had to scramble something unscheduled last minute, they needed people there right then and now, and I was selected for that. And obviously, didn't actually get activated for that. I was only at Andrews for a short time for training, but the 8-10 months I was there, got the board several times.
Yeah.
Got the training on it. So
now, are you able to share any secrets of Air Force One, or is that
nothing that's probably not already out there?
Oh.
I didn't get into the president's office or suite or anything, but
probably be frowned upon?
Yeah, it's pretty much down in the galleys and everything that you've seen on TV and the movies. So it's a really nice big plane. We got 2 of them.
Yeah.
Got to go in the hangar and all that stuff. So got the challenge coin as part of the crew. So that's something I was pretty proud of.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So that was one of the big highlights from the time in the military.
And then one of your obviously being the fire chief, huge responsibility. You're always on call, and, busy schedule. But one of your other jobs is you got a pretty cool job. You work on medic helicopter.
Yeah. So going on going on 5 years now. I've been with the elite pilots of the county sheriff's department, their aviation unit. So came on to start their rescue program. That's what I did in the Air Force with hoisting and medical evac and things like that. Got that up and running, and they brought me in as a TFO, tactical flight officer, and then that's kind of the person that runs the cameras, radios, does everything but flying. Then progressing into the pilot program through all the training.
So then when you're on the flight, so what is your responsibility? You assist with the patient, or is it?
Yeah. So with the rescue, we don't really do transport like you think of regular medical helicopters like University of Chicago, Lutheran Air that do all the medical, pretty much an air ambulance. We have the capabilities through a couple of our Hueys to extract people out of hard-to-get places. That could be hikers that hike in woods or some of the national parks, county parks around us. They get injured that you can't really quite get them out any other way. Or if you use like an ATV, it would take hours to get that done. With our hoist and all of our equipment, we can quickly insert a couple of our paramedics, assess the patient, package them up, extract them through the hoist, and take them, meet a ground ambulance somewhere. Yeah. They would actually do the transport to the hospital. So we're not really quite an air ambulance per se. We're more on the rescue side of things.
Not a job if you don't like heights.
Yeah, if you don't like heights or flying.
Out of helicopters.
Yeah, stay out of the helicopter, stay off the hoist line. But it's a very new program. We're still training pilots and the crew chiefs and the hoist operators on everything. So not quite up and running yet, but it's a program we've been pretty proud of because there's really nothing else around here with those capabilities. So the other thing we do too more often is with the unit is Bambi buckets, which is the big bucket that you see hanging from helicopters that puts out fires. We were just activated a couple weeks ago when it was we had a few days of really hot, windy, dry conditions. We had brush fires pop up everywhere. For the most part, they could be handled by ground firefighters with brush trucks and off-road vehicles, but sometimes they get into these really hard to access areas, marshes, swamp areas, middle of woods that just you can't really get to. So we've been getting more and more requests for a Bambi bucket to come in, and it holds about 250 gallons of water each dump. And just like you see, out west of the California fires, we pick up water out of usually lakes, ponds. We don't do swimming pools, but we can if we needed to. We have enough access to water around here. Yeah. Pick up water, drop it on fire, and repeat that 20, 30 sometimes until the fire goes out. So that's a
One
pretty
of those, a lot of training.
Yeah.
Hope you never need it or use, but it's good to know.
yeah,
that.
and it's kind of neat because it merges my fire experience and flight experience. So,
And then on the personal side, you just recently got married, right?
yeah, got married.
How's that going?
Good. Yeah, still
Great
married,
answer.
going good.
Yeah.
Went out
Congratulations, by the way. I
Thank
know
you.
it's been a while. but-
Yeah, thank you. Went out to Glacier National Park. Got married out there. Beautiful.
Nice.
Never been out there. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And then honeymoon was out in Iceland.
Iceland.
Yeah.
Never been to Iceland. Any of you guys been to Iceland?
Never been.
Never been.
Mary, you been to Iceland?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Highly recommend it.
Hmm.
So,
Very nice.
yeah, it's been a busy year between getting appointed chief and all the things going on at the fire department and personal life and stuff. Everything's great.
Running smooth. So we're lucky to have you as chief.
Yeah, thank you.
It's good, like I said, because the community knows you as fire chief, sees you in that role. So that was good to be able to. This is kind of what you do outside the firehouse.
Oh, yeah.
And job related, yes, but it just shows that you're well rounded. And as despite what Adam says, you're a good fire chief.
Sure.
Yeah.
He says you're all right.
I know.
Well, I watch them like the kitchen.
They do have a nice
very
kitchen.
nice kitchen.
And the coffee machine.
Oh, wonderful coffee.
Yeah,
Adam doesn't miss coffee mornings.
that's true. Adam's known as going around to different departments and
The
the
coffee is so
cups.
good that the fire chief can't believe it. Sorry
That's right. So, Chief Patrick, I've known you for many, many, many years,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So how long have you been actually with how long have you been with our police department?
So it'll be 24 years in March. So I have 23.
And then before Crown Point, you were Hebron,
With Chesterton.
Chester.
Yeah.
I thought you were Hebron police.
I was. That's where I started. That's where I went to the academy. Started off there, got the academy, and then got hired on Chesterton right after the academy. Spent a little over a year there, 12, 13 months.
I forget how did it come to be that you came to Crown Point?
I actually applied here before I applied anywhere. And I actually, told them, hey, look, Crown Point calls, I'm going to Crown Point. So
Yeah.
at the time, once I applied, I just kind of waited. I waited probably about 2 years before I got to call for Crown Point. So it was kind of weird at that time. I had to make up my mind between Crown Point and Lake County because they had called within a day apart. So,
It's usually how it goes,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
so I chose to be here in the city. So
Yeah.
never regretted it.
I seem to remember you because I remember when we hired you. I don't think I was one of your training officers, but
No.
I remember your first day. You're all eager and excited, and everything was looking good. Ironed.
Yeah. I had a few bumps in the road.
Yeah. But like Mark, so so people know you as the police chief. What part of one of your very important job assignments that you really can't talk a whole lot about was you were a member for representing our police department for over 6 years, right?
Yeah.
Federal law enforcement task force.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you share about that so that people
It was a great experience being part of our federal initiative, which we have, guys that partner us with our federal law enforcement, and that experience that I had, I got to do a lot of good things. Obviously, you're bringing a lot of assets to Crown Point, whether it be cases or got to do a lot of good training stuff that I was able to bring back. As far as like just the case, it kind of opened your eyes to, how other agencies work. You could be working in New York City one week, and then you could be in Mission, Texas the next. So, in all the cases that we worked had some kind of nexus here to Indiana. So it wasn't like we were just freelancing all over the state. So it was cases that we had either started here or somebody had asked us for help that had some connection with us. Indiana. But great experience. Some of the greatest police officers that I've ever been able to work with and train with, and it was just a very, very good experience.
Yeah, so I think, the general public, I don't think knows, but so on your task force assignments, you kind of go where the case goes. So I remember you calling hey, just so you know, I'm going to be down in Texas for however long, or I'm going to be over on the East Coast. But like you said, it's great for you as an individual because you gain so many resources, contacts, experience that you can bring back to our agency and city. But as the police department and the city as a whole, we have some great resources on that federal level that we can call. And we've called them a whole bunch of times on different investigations we have going on. And, pretty much every federal agency is just a phone call away. And they've even called us when we've had cases.
Yep.
Hey, we saw this. How can we help? Type thing.
Right.
So huge benefit to the city and our citizens.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that when I came back is, there was a lot of our guys that, would ask me, hey, we have this case, and I would find some jurisdiction. There's so many federal agencies out there that cover, just the oddest things.
Yeah.
If you can think of it, there's a federal agency out there that probably covers it. So,
Yeah, one of the things I always liked, which I know we really can't talk about, is the technologies that's used. You'd be sharing sources of it, how we got this, and I didn't even know that we could even do that. Yeah. It's amazing what's being used out there by law enforcement. So good stuff, and it benefits. Like I said, we do it for the officer, but it benefits the city and our city. So if we ever need them, we got great resources and contacts. And then I always tease you because your big passion outside the job is Ryan's a big hunter. Anthony, you're not a hunter?
Not at all.
I'm not a hunter. Adam?
No, I'm more of a fisherman.
it sounds like we need to do like a hunting trip.
Really?
Have you ever been pheasant hunting?
No, sir. No.
Yeah. Mary, have you ever hunted? We did go skeet shooting. Anthony's actually a really good shot.
I did all right.
I mean, that's a start.
Yeah. There's a little contest with us in the city of Hammond and staff. We smoked.
We did.
It wasn't even close. Yeah, they left.
Yeah, no, for sure. Hunting and fishing, especially waterfowl hunting. Right. Days off, and I got my two boys that are getting into it. My oldest boy Jack, he's really into it. So.
Yeah, because now you're also married, been married to Carrie for
Yep.
a number of years. So you got how many total kids?
So I have 3 kids. I have an 18-year-old, 10-year-old, and 7-year-old. So.
Yeah. Now, is the 18-year-old Madison, you take her? She has any interest in hunting?
She says that she does, but I think that when she got out there, it'd be too cold. So, her personality, whether she's serious.
Yes. Well, then it's the whole, shooting something,
Right.
too, which maybe comes into play. But, so yeah, I always tease you. You're always going somewhere. It seems like long weekend going hunting or fishing, and who knows what you're hunting, but you got to have that stress reliever.
Yeah,
so I know
you definitely have to have something outside of your normal duties.
Yeah. So both departments, like I said, we have the holiday season coming up. I know there's a lot going on in both your departments and different things. So, Chief, I know it was advertised and put out public. It's a huge thing, so it's good, and it should be, is the SAFER grant. So,
yeah, so SAFER grant is staffing for adequate firefighter response, and it's a federal grant through FEMA that we've applied for well over 6-7 years now. And this year and back in September, we were notified that we were awarded the grant. It was for a little over $2 million. And what that grant does is it provides money for salaries and benefits, covers 100% of the salaries and benefits to hire 7 new firefighters. And what that will do is allow us to put a second fire apparatus staffed all the time. Right now, it's kind of partially staffed depending on staffing. This will get us to being able to staff it every day of the year. So,
so Chief, you were talking about one of the good things that citizens should know is every year for the past I don't know how many years, and the budget is we always put in additional police officer and firefighter. So there's been so many, especially, several years ago when budgets were getting slashed and hiring freezes, and to Crown Point's credit, they always continue to put in new staffing for emergency services.
Yeah.
So the grant kind of does is, instead of hiring, let's say 7 over 5 to 7 years, we are hiring all at one time under the grant, the over $2 million grant.
Yes, exactly. So, instead of, trickling, a couple of firefighters in every year over the course of 3 to 4 years, this allows us to bulk hire a bunch of firefighters to be able to staff a truck. Because, there's times we can get, we hire 1 firefighter, but it takes at least 2 to staff an ambulance and 4 to staff a fire engine. So if you're, numbers are kind of off, sometimes you're hiring a guy without really having a place for them to go. So these grants specifically address that and allow us to hire a bunch of guys at one time to staff a vehicle or add a vehicle to our staffing. So
what's the staffing level for that? Not including the 7 under the grant.
Sure. So as of today, we're at 41 firefighters on shift. And we have 4 administrative chiefs. So out of those 41 that are on shift, we have 3 shifts. 2 of them are at 14, and the third shift's at 13. So that's why there's 7 in that grant, because it's to balance.
Yeah.
So after the grant, after we hire everybody through the Safer grant, we'll be at 16 firefighters per shift.
And I mean, it's common sense, but so the goal is to have enough staffing where anytime a call comes in, ambulance, structure fire, you have enough staff to right there at the firehouse to get needed trucks out. Because we also still have volunteers, right?
Yeah, so we do. We do have some. We don't have many, but the few that we have are very committed and very active. The volunteer, I call it a crisis throughout the country. It's not unique to Crown Point or our area, but just the new culture and generation that we're in. People are having to work more. They're having more commitments to their family or to school or to organizations. The training and time commitments have gone through the roof.
Yeah.
Because it takes hundreds of hours to become a firefighter, and then it takes hundreds of hours every year to meet the minimum requirements for training. Because you know how the legal system works. Somebody gets hurt, the first thing that you want to see is, where's their training record?
Yeah, show us the training records.
So that's really the job. The idea of being a firefighter really attracts a lot of people to us. So we have a lot of interested people wanting to be firefighters. We try to explain to them, the time commitment, and that sometimes people say, no, they bow out and they say they can't do it. And some people say, yeah, absolutely, let's go. And then they actually start doing it and realize how much time is taken away from their families, all to be a volunteer firefighter. Granted, they get paid a little bit each time, they have training or go to a call, but it's not worth it based on how often they have to leave their family for calls or training. And like I said, that's become a problem across the nation.
What's the limitations now, Mark, for being a firefighter, even the volunteer side? Is there age level education?
You have to be at least 18. Mm-hmm. For volunteer side, there's no maximum age. As long as you pass, you can do the job, you can do the training. It is physical, so there's some people that can't do it. Just pass the test, pass the training. We'll do everything we can to get you there, but some people just are claustrophobic. They can't handle the stress, whatever the case may be. So it really limits the number of people that by the time they get through all that training, and they can give us that time commitment. It really limits our numbers. So that's another reason why the Safer Grant's helpful, because we rely on volunteers to show up and when it's during the day and they're on jobs that they can't leave. You don't get the numbers that you need to efficiently.
Yeah.
So do you guys have like recruitment drives as far as for volunteers, or how?
We do. Usually once or twice a year, because that's how often they have a fire academy. We try to do a big recruitment drive prior to the start of that. Lately, our department and some other departments have had success really hitting high schools hard. The seniors hard going through EMT class. They come out of high school with the EMT certification already. So, looking at the career colleges and technical colleges and also the high schools, kind of where we see the most success lately, but still it doesn't give us enough numbers to get where we need, where we used to be.
Just like the police side, I know the process weeds a lot of people out, which is, I know, is unfortunate. A lot of times they come back the next one and the next one, but it ultimately gives us the best firefighters and applicants to be able to put on the FD. So I know the police, you guys just did
we just did an open application.
So, I mean, I don't know if citizens know, but the very first step in the police process is that physical agility test. And if you fail one component, sit-ups or the run or push-ups, you're unfortunately right there eliminated from it.
And we always do the exit standards of the academy, knowing that you can make it through the academy. So
yeah,
it is a little tougher.
So what's the staffing now on the police side?
Right now we're right around 50. We have 2 that are getting ready to be sworn in.
Yeah, hoping to swear them in this month.
Yeah. And then we'll have one just with the holidays and everything. We're just going to hold them over to the first of the year. So, we'll have that person selected after the first year.
Yeah.
And then we have a retirement in February too, so that they actually get hired too. So, yeah.
Because I've seen on the police side, and I always felt horrible. You get the applicant that shows up. We usually do it at the high school, use the facilities down there. And it's like super excited. You talk to them in the downtime. This is all I wanted to be. I want to work in Crown Point. I want to be a police officer. And then they come up like 2 push-up shots. Yeah. And then you got to be the one to tell them, get your stuff and go. Yeah. But we're going to be doing it again. And so now you know what it's like. Be prepared for it.
And, we always tell them, go to these agility tests, start doing this. That way you know what you have to work on.
Yeah.
We had quite a few. There's been a lot of departments that have been struggling with recruitment and trying to get applicants.
It's a nationwide problem.
Our numbers are down, but not like what I've heard. I think we end up having 90 applicants. Only 30 showed up, but the numbers are still good.
Yeah. And we won't share other communities' names, but we do a lot of hiring from officers that are police officers on other neighboring agencies. And when we put out applications, they come to Crown Point or apply with Crown Point and we get a lot of applications like that from officers, Illinois and other states, but a lot of neighboring agencies that would leave their department to come to us. So
we've had a lot of officers that live in the city but work in another community.
Yeah, they want to live.
They end up coming to work for the city.
Yeah. And it's the same thing. It's just as tough as it is, at the end of the day, then we have the best applicants that we can have for the city and the citizens. So, like we were talking about, obviously holiday season, which is very nice. I literally have no Christmas stuff in my office.
It is December 1st.
Yeah,
just like
it's just
got time.
Well,
but when I came in, I did see your staff. They are decorating.
Oh, Mary and Marcia, they're out of control. They're like, it's like Santa's little workshop. But with the holiday season here, unfortunately, probably one of the biggest issues that we run into is the thefts of packages from porches.
Yes.
So what would be some tips if I want to order from Amazon? Is there anything that I could do to maybe lessen the risk of that, or what would you suggest?
Yeah, a lot of places now. I thought Walgreens was one of them, but you can actually have your package delivered there, and then pick it up on the way home from work. You get to stop by for something. A lot of people are now finding out who in their neighborhood, is home during the day or whatever, and just having a package delivered there, or have that person, go through and gather your package for you that way. It's something value. But I still see a lot of packages on the porch where people, just take that chance of, having it out there.
Yeah. I mean, I know, and there's unfortunately there's a segment that they'll follow the Amazon and other delivery trucks literally through the neighborhoods. Yeah. And as they make their delivery, then so
have you seen a drop of that? us. It seems like everybody's got a ring cam or something like that. It's not as prevalent since there's so much visual technology out there that stop that. I know it still happens, but
Yeah, there has been a slight drop to it, but I mean, there's still people that take their chances.
sure.
Yeah, so the big one is use these alternate locations. Hey, I want my package delivered to. I know there's other businesses, and I think they're actually all listed. If you go through the site,
Yes.
the area locations from where you're at, where you can have it delivered to.
The whole package.
Yeah, and then you can schedule it to deliver it until after 5. So
Which is a great idea if you think about it. If you bring them into your store,
that is a good
something.
idea. Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would tell people to definitely take advantage of that.
Doesn't the police department have a designated parking area now for peer-to-peer transactions?
Yeah. So if
Yeah.
I'm buying something from somebody off
Yes,
one of these
and
sites,
so when they reconfigured the parking lot, there is a designated parking spot for internet transactions, where if you don't want to meet the person at their house or whatever, you come to the police department and it's a designated area that's the lot's recorded, so you can do the transaction.
yeah, because it's literally one of the very first parking stalls closest to the building, right?
And we use it also for child custody, parents dropping off kids. There's a spot designated for them too. So.
So on the fire side, does the fire department with the increase? You guys see any increase in calls around the holiday season for structure fires? or
Yes,
anything like that?
unfortunately, it's the jolliest time of year, but it's also a busy time of year for fire departments, not just us, but nationwide. There's several reasons for it. It's the space heaters or some type of alternate heating methods that people come up with. That's probably, I would say, the most common. Leaving space heaters on longer than they're supposed to. We got a couple of common winter, Christmas time causes for fires. One of them space heaters. One of our last fires we just had last week was caused by a space heater. We have cooking fires. Obviously, the turkey fires. That has kind of
the turkey fire.
Yeah, that's kind of calmed down a little bit. I think people have kind of gotten wise to it. We still have the issues. People leaving. We find this with our older population. We all had that grandma or the great aunt that always used to store their Tupperware plastic stuff in the oven all year long, and then they go to turn on the oven and bake cookies and stuff, forget about it, and melts plastic over the place. So that doesn't usually burn houses down, but it's a nasty smell. Candles. Don't leave candles burning unless fall
What's the
asleep.
exterior illumination?
Now that a lot of people switch to LEDs, it doesn't draw as much power, so there isn't as much issues with that. But the newest thing is lithium-ion batteries.
Yes.
A few years ago was those hover-around scooters that were causing fires. We had a few of them. Those seem to have calmed down, but now it's coming back up again. So biggest thing with those, make sure they're UL listed. With a really small stamp on it, and somewhere usually by the charging port or on the bottom side, you'll say UL. That just means it's certified and it's gone through a bunch of testing that shouldn't catch fire.
So people just have to be, rethink things, be mindful. It's for the most part, common sense stuff, but just, be careful and cautious.
Common sense.
So, and then Ryan, so one of the things, just like the fire department, is we do a lot of community, throughout the year. We're a big community police department, but every year we do Shop with a Cop.
Yep.
So what is that? And if I wanted to get involved or help donate, how do I do that?
Sure. So the Shop at the Top is going to be on December 10th. I believe it's going to be at the Meyer again up in Maryville. It's ran by our FOP, 176. If you would like to make a donation or want any more information, Steve Neese is the coordinator of that every year. That's just one of the many things that we do on the community outreach with the FOP in partnership with the police department.
Yeah. So and that's we designate underprivileged kids. We literally take them and the families out for a shopping excursion at Meyer. So
and each child has a dollar amount, and we get to go with an officer or a representative from the police department and walk around the shop.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing. I've been part of that for many years, so it's a cool thing to be part of and help and contribute to. So thanks for keep doing it. So I think that kind of wraps up the segment. I can't thank you guys enough from my office and Anthony to be members or not members, guests on the podcast.
I think Mark's got a big, before we cut, I think he's got a big anniversary coming up.
Yeah, I don't, but the department certainly does. 150 years.
Wow.
Next year, 2023. So we got a lot of stuff coming through social media and events. One of the big things we're working on right now is our yearbook. I brought some yearbooks from years past, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. So we're doing one now for 2023 for our 150 years. So I know there's tens of thousands, if not millions, of people that listen to this
We're worldwide, for sure.
podcast. So I want to maybe just make a quick shameless plug, but we are looking for businesses and advertisers for our yearbook. I think it's always really cool looking through some of these old ones. I know it doesn't make for good podcasts, but me on the video is, not only the look through all the old historic fire pictures and all the firemen, but going through and looking at some of the old advertisements for some of the old businesses that were in here. The old Carroll Chevy building.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of these pictures, and it's really a cool time capsule to go back and look at it. And that's kind of what we want to do for the businesses and community to not only be part to help us raise funds for our 150th year, but to kind of be part of that time capsule. So when we make these look back at these yearbooks 50 or 100 years from now, they're part of that. So if you're interested, contact Lieutenant Mark Reed at the fire department. Reed, R-E-E-D, at crownpoint.gov. They'll get you all the info to be part of that.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Anthony, you got anything to throw in at their
Great
lines?
show, guys. Thanks for being here, and appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. This was fun.
It's been fun.
So, our business spotlight of the month is Badera Bar. I have not been there yet, but my better half has been there many times. And so it's a great place, a great new business in Crown Point. So if you're out and about, maybe stop in there and see what it's all about. So, but anyway, so thanks for coming. Great show. So Crown Point, until next month, stay safe and take care and look out for one another. Thanks.
You've been listening to Lay of the Land with Crown Point Mayor Pete Land and Chief of Staff Anthony Schlueter. If you like what you heard today, come hang out with us on the third Tuesday of every month. Lay of the Land is available on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time.